Good morning and welcome to today's edition of the Friday Financial Review. I'm Paul Griffiths. I'm a European financial advisor. Funny today because it's obviously not Friday. Tomorrow's Good Friday, so I won't be working, enjoying my time with my family, and I hope you all do too. So today brings us to the last episode of our Investing as a Resident of Spain. We're going to touch upon the matter of pensions today. But just a brief recap over the last several weeks. So obviously various investment available as a resident of Spain and what it means. As I said, in the first week you have cash. Whatever interest you get in cash, of course, you pay a bit of tax here in Spain, 19% it starts off. Property. Again, buying property in Spain, love the sun, a great form of investment to diversify your holdings. Things to watch out for, of course, is the cost to buy in Spain on property, around about 14%. And then you've got annual running costs with annual taxes to go with it. Property, as we all know, is an illiquid asset class, but it does form a good part of an overall strategy. Investments in general, there are usually 2-3 different ways of buying stocks, shares, funds. You can buy it through the bank, you could buy it through these online platforms, whether it be based in the UK, Channel Islands, Luxembourg, or the other side of the world. And then you've got the more compliant structures which offer additional tax benefits. All of these are fit for purpose depending on what your short, medium and long-term strategy is, and again, consult your financial advisor. So, today, matter of pensions. Those living in Spain, working in Spain, are able to put in up to €8,000 of their earnings into a private pension here in Spain, and they will, of course, use that contribution to offset on their annual income tax. So it's a good way to actually save some money. However, at €8,000, sure, it's not much, but nonetheless, it's not too bad either. For those who are already approaching their retirement or are already retired, then those individuals, you already accumulated pensions from, if you worked in the UK, you worked in Holland, Germany, perhaps you're an Australian, worked all your life in Australia and coming over to Spain, US, so on and so forth. So what I'd like to do is just to give you guys a general understanding of the tax implications from the Spanish side when dealing with different types of pension. So the first type of pensions you potentially already have is an employer scheme, okay? Those from the UK might have what we call a defined benefit scheme, where you will be given a salary upon your retirement date, and that salary is linked to your last 3 years' salary before you left the employment, and of course multiplied by the number of years you worked there. Now those are employer schemes, so when you do get those salaries, usually it will be taxed, or most cases it will be taxed at source in the UK, and then you are obliged to do a filing here in Spain as a resident of Spain, of course. If it means that you pay a little bit more taxes to Spain because the allowances here are not as generous as the United Kingdom, then that's what you have to do. Unless, of course, those pension scheme is a government scheme, so civil service, the teacher's pension, the MOD pension, things like that. So most government schemes are not taxed again here in Spain. So we then move on to, again, employer schemes, but what we call defined contributions. So this is where you would put in a level of contribution yourself through your salary sacrifice each month, and the employer would have either matched it or potentially double it. So these type of schemes are basically a hybrid scheme, and if you moved here and you never did anything about them, then the tax actually can get a bit complicated, because your contributions are taxed in one way and the employer contributions are taxed in a different way. To keep it very simple, the employer side, whatever proportion makes up your entire pension fund, when you do come to take your income, then the employer side of things, you're taxed to the fullest as if it's earned income. The portion that makes up your contributions, your own contributions through salary sacrifice, or if you put in private money, then only the growth of those contributions are taxable in Spain, and those rates are exactly the same as your investment income rate, starting at 19%. So it can be messy if you've got a plan with both. Now, the last type of pension, which is becoming very, very common these days, is your private pension. So you may have left employers, you may have decided to move 3, 4, 5 different schemes into one pot. Usually these are called SIPs, self-invested personal pension. If you consolidated everything into a SIP, then it doesn't matter where the SIP money came from, it's deemed to be your contribution. And obviously you've got to try to do this before you come to Spain if you can. So let's assume you live in the UK and one day you wake up, say, look, we're moving to Spain. Plan everything right. A few months to go before you come to Spain, you've got 3, 4 different pension pots and you decide to consolidate all of them into one SIP. The great news is when you come to Spain, become fiscally resident in Spain, then because those contributions are your private contributions now, that's your capital. It's irrelevant what benefit you got in the UK, that's from the UK side. You're now living in Spain. So from a taxation in Spain standpoint, you're only taxed on the growth on those contributions or on that new capital. So it makes it extremely efficient to make sure you have the right planning, especially before you come. If you're already here, fine. With a good financial advisor, we can plan it properly for you to benefit from that as well. Now, my examples this morning is from the UK perspective, but the rules apply actually to anybody from anywhere. So in Australia, you've got your own super. Now, obviously, you still got to sort out your own Australian taxes, of course, but if it's a private super, it was your money and it wasn't the employer's side contribution, then again, that's your capital. You're only taxed on the growth. Of course, it depends on obviously what tax has been withheld previously, but it's from a Spain side, you're only taxed on the growth. In Spain itself then, coming over here to retire, a lot of people think Spanish taxes can be higher. It can be, but with the right planning, it doesn't have to be. And you do it in the right way. It's all about using the right products, understanding the regime of what you can and cannot do, and any good, competent financial advisor who consults regularly with their team of experts such as accountants, tax advisors, so that you are fully in the know, can help you with pretty much all of your financial needs. Okay? So this brings an end to our investing as a resident of Spain. In all honesty, I'm going to do one for France and other countries. There's going to be a similar theme, but the interesting point is the tax obviously will be different from country to country. I want to thank you all for supporting me, for liking my video, for sharing my videos. It's on YouTube, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, so do subscribe. Next week, I'll be moving on to Irish pensions, very, very big part. And then the week after, I'm going to start the same series that I've done for Spain, but for those living in France. So, I want to wish you all a very, very happy Thursday. Enjoy your Easter. I know some countries are a bit more restricted in movements and where they can go compared to ourselves here in Spain. But do take care of yourself. Do enjoy this Easter long weekend. And for those who don't celebrate Easter, there's plenty of you that don't, just have a lovely, lovely weekend. And I'll see you all again next week. Bye-bye.